Morning fellas, I'm back. You must be absolutely buzzing. It's been just over a week since my last video. The last video was a recreation of Premier League goals video, which were really bad, and if you haven't already seen that, go and watch that. And if you get easily triggered by us being bad at football, I wouldn't suggest watching it. I think a couple of people took it a little bit too seriously. But anyway, I'm back. A lot of things have happened in the 2 weeks that I've been away. Apologies for not uploading any videos to do with actual Villa. I've been on holiday and I just thought I'd take a couple of weeks away from VOT to get myself, composed, but now I'm back. I'm ready to upload a lot of videos. There's a lot of content on the way, which I'll explain a little bit later. But this video is just sort of like an update video, talking about all the things that have happened recently, talking about transfers, kits, fixtures coming up, pre-season games that have already happened, Minnesota, all that sort of stuff. Gonna talk about all of that, so let's get into it. So I'm going to start by talking about the signings that have actually already been confirmed since I've been away. Ezri Konsa from Brentford. This probably seems like old news now, but I just thought I'd talk about it a little bit. 21 years of age from Brentford. I think it's a very, very good signing. £12 million, decent fee. He's got a lot of potential, this lad. I know Dean Smith was very, very fond of him back at Brentford, and obviously he's took him to Villa with him. I just think it's a really sensible signing, really. Whether it be a starter in the Premier League, not too sure, but I think he's a very Twanzebe kind of player. He's very comfortable with the ball at his feet, and he's played for England youth level, so he's got a lot of potential. And as I said, I don't think he'll start, but I think it's one for the future, of course. Which brings me on to maybe the centre back that'll start ahead of him, Engels. Belgian international, 24 years of age, so again another really young player. 6'4", aerial threat. He scores a lot of goals, to be fair to him as well. He joined the team out in Minnesota, so he's had a couple of training sessions. He didn't play in the Shrewsbury game because he had a knock apparently, so hopefully we'll see him at some point during pre-season, because this knock is not ideal, but I want to see him because him and Mings together has the potential to be very, very exciting. That central defensive partnership is one to be talked about actually, because let me know in the comments actually, who do you think should... I think Mings is going to start, but who would you think is going to start alongside him? Konsa, Engels, maybe even Chester, who I'll talk about again a little bit later. But I think there's a good debate. I think both of those signings are very sensible. Of course, we needed a couple of centre-backs after Twanzebe was gone. Chester's had this injury for a while now, so we definitely needed a centre-back to partner Tyrone Mings. I think both of them are very good signings. A couple of signings that are pretty much imminent. Douglas Luiz from Manchester City, who was on loan at Girona in Spain last season. Another very young player, 21 years of age. No Premier League experience, but we don't mind. Bit of a funny one this, because it's been talked about for a couple of weeks now. I think everyone can guess that it's just imminent before Villa actually announce it. I think his personal trainer on Instagram has said that he signed for Villa. He's atting ABFC official on Instagram and all this sort of stuff. So I just think he was in Minnesota as well. He put on his Instagram story Douglas Luiz. So yeah, I think there's just a small issue with work permit, but I expect it to go through by the end of the week. But one that is a little bit closer is Trezeguet from... Excuse me, I do not know the Turkish club that he's come from, but it's a club in Turkey. He played in the African Cup of Nations for Egypt this summer, so he hasn't really had a break, to be fair to him. But on the bright side, he was in the team of the tournament for Egypt, so fair play. He must be doing something right. I think there's a load of clips on Twitter of, these sort of runs that he's doing. He's a very, very quick winger. I've seen someone compare him to Adama Traore with end products on Twitter. So Adama Traore, he could run for days, but as soon as he got to the byline, his crossing, shooting was dreadful. So if Trezeguet can sort of be the Adama Traore player that we all wanted to see with that end product, so that'll be a very welcome addition to this Villa squad, because I think we needed a winger. Of course we did. I think we were very light there. Andre Green, is he really Premier League quality yet? Probably not. So I think we definitely needed a winger. Trezeguet, again, not a lot of experience in the Premier League, but he's got something about him, this lad. When it's announced, I'm very excited to see what he can do. Even when this video is out, he might already be announced, because I know he had his medical at Bodymore Heath on Monday. So it's a matter of time before he's announced, but it's a very good sign and looking forward to seeing what he can do. Again, with Trezeguet, I think it's a really, really good price as well. I think John Percy on Twitter said that it was less than £9 million. So admittedly, a lot of us haven't seen him play, but I've seen a lot of hype around him on Twitter. And talking to Twitter, he's got a massive fan base. So El Mohammedi's got 2.4 million followers on Twitter, which is double what Villa got. And I think this Trezeguet bloke's got 1.8 million followers, so it's a bit ridiculous. Hopefully a few more Egyptian fans will start supporting Villa, but we shall see. A couple of rumours now. We all love a rumour, don't we? Syed Ben Rama, he came out yesterday that he wants to leave Brentford, and I think he wants to force a move through to Aston Villa. The reported fee, I think, is around 16 million euros, so it's about 15 million quid. I want to see this happen. It makes sense. Obviously played with Smith at Brentford. I think we do need another winger maybe to compete with Trezeguet, Hotter, El Ghazi on these wings. If you have two decent wingers on either side, I think that'll do. Yeah, but Ben Rama, I think he's a very technically gifted player, been capped once or twice for Algeria as well. So I think he's a very technically gifted player. I think it fits into Dean Smith's system. So I want to see this one happen. Very exciting signing if it does happen, and I think it makes sense. Another Brentford player, Morpie. This has been going on all summer. I don't think this one's relatively close. I think it would make sense if he made the move to the Premier League. Do we need another striker? Possibly, because if Wesley gets injured, I don't trust Scott Hogan. Codger, is he good enough to the Premier League? I'm not sure, but I think if we sign Morpie, and maybe the combination play with him and Wesley, if they do either play at the same time, that could be really exciting. Big man, little man sort of thing. But yeah, I'd love to see Morpie come in, but I don't think striker's maybe the most important position to try and strengthen at the moment. But if it does happen, I wouldn't say no. I think it'll be a good signing if it does happen. Another funny one is Marvellous Nakamba, the best name in football there. Apparently he's not training with Club Bruges, and a transfer is sort of underway. I think James Rushton, shout out to him, was trying to get into contact with Marvellous Nakamba's agent, and he said the transfer to Villa is sort of underway. I think the fee's around £11 million, so if that does happen, it's another midfielder. I'm not sure if he's box to box or sort of like a deep line midfielder, but either way I think it'll be a really good addition, because I think behind McGinn, Grealish, Horan's the only real one who can come in and do a job. But yeah, I think it'll be really good if Marvellous Nakamba does come in. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it with the rumours and stuff. I think I'll come on to it later, but the sort of positions that we still need to look at are maybe goalkeeper. I'll talk about Steer in a bit. Maybe another midfielder, but I don't think it's crucial. That CDM is going to be Douglas Luiz, so I don't think that's crucial. Maybe another winger, if that's Ben Rama, that'll do. Maybe another striker. So I think we've got our targets identified, but yeah, that's all for the transfer talk. Now I've talked about all the transfers, now I want to talk about the fact that people keep on saying Aston Villa are doing a Fulham. I absolutely hate it when people say that, because it's just naive, it's just lazy, it just makes no sense really, and here's why. Decent little stat, the last 6 teams to get promoted from the Championship into the Premier League that have spent more than £50 million, 5 of them have survived, and the one that didn't was Fulham. Maybe people are saying Aston Villa are doing a Fulham because this whole Fulham thing is recent memory, only happened last year. But it's just so different to Fulham. Now I'm saying all this, Aston Villa will probably get relegated for like 17 points. But the reason why it's different is because Fulham clearly did not have a strategy when they came up last season. I think their manager was a little naive with the tactics. He wasn't going to be able to play the possession football. I think Fulham made a lot of their signings towards the end of the transfer window, and in my eyes, they panic bought. They went around Europe saying, let's have you, young talent, let's get him in. There was no real strategy there. But you look at Villa, it's the complete opposite. I think we were looking at players even before the playoff final. We had a strategy. We signed Hotter a week after the playoff final. Like, there's clearly a strategy there, and it's paying off. We've got most of our dealings done towards the middle of July, so it's so different to Fulham. Again, people look at the fact we've spent £100 million and think, oh my god, you know, that's ridiculous, this is never going to work. But continuity, of course, is very important when you get promoted. You've got to keep that core of the squad together, and I think, yes, we have a lot of the players we had last season were on loan. Mings, we spent 25 million on him. House, El Ghazi. These aren't new signings. They were here last season. So you look at the fees for them, adds up to like, what, 30, 35, 40 million pounds. People will look at that and think, wow, that's a lot of money spent on not a lot of well-known talent. But they were here last season, so that makes no sense. Again, Konsa, Hotter, Ben Rama, if they do come in, have played with Smith before at Brentford. They know his system, they know how he likes to operate in the club. So again, they're going to know what to expect when they come to Villa. It's not going to be as much as a shock. The only thing is, like, players like Wesley, players like Engels, who haven't played with Smith before and haven't played in the Premier League before, those are the only real new boys that are gonna have to come in and really knuckle down and get to work with Smith's system. But yeah, I think it's lazy, the whole Fulham thing. It makes no sense really, but that's my thoughts on it. Please don't say in the comments, Villa are doing a Fulham, because it's boring. Alright, it's boring now. Now let's talk about the pre-season games. Football is back. I actually didn't watch the Minnesota game because I was in Croatia and they're an hour ahead, so I would have had to wake up and watch the game at 2 o'clock. I was thinking about it, but I think the night before there was a bit of controversy on Twitter about whether it was being shown or not, so I just thought I'd go to bed and watch it in the morning, which I did. I think it was a fairly simple game. Fair play to the fans from the UK that went out there. I know there's a lot of US Villa-based fans that watch this channel and were there, so shout out to you. It must have been so good for those American Villa fans that maybe haven't seen Villa in the flesh before to see see them. A lot of behind the scenes access as well. I know they went to go and watch them in training, which was very, very cool. Met the players as well after the game, which was quite good. If you've seen that clip of Dean Smith trying to sign a fan's shirt and then this steward comes along and just rips it from him, it's mind-blowing really. But I think the game itself was fairly standard. I don't think Minnesota or anything special. I know they had a fairly mixed side as well, because I know they're in the middle of their season, so yeah, I think it was fairly simple. I think Grealish scored a really nice goal. Bjarnason looked lively, spraying the ball about. Henry Lansbury looked good as well, to be fair. That was a really, really good goal. Gilbert on the right-hand side, good cross for Lansbury's goal. But I just think it was fairly simple. Routine, win, clean sheet as well. Pretty simple. I think the Minnesota trip was really, really beneficial for everyone. Yeah, it was good, success. But then in the last few days, Villa have come back. They played a game at Shrewsbury, which we won 1-0 on Sunday afternoon. 4,500 Villa fans there, which was ridiculous. I think Villa tweeted that it made 52% of the overall allocation in Shrewsbury. So Villa actually had more fans there than Shrewsbury, which is ridiculous. Fair play to every Villa fan that went there, including Ginger Jamie. Shout out to you, son. I will see you tomorrow at Walsall. But yeah, in terms of the Shrewsbury game, I think it was a bit nervy in the first half. I think Villa had the most of it, but both teams could have scored. I just think there was a little bit of a lack of conviction from both sides. I think Shrewsbury had a corner. They should have scored from that. I think we had a few shots as well. But yeah, it's a fairly quiet first half. I think Gilbert and Jota worked really, really well down the right side. I think Gilbert going forward is really lively. I haven't seen too much of him going back, to be fair. But Jota, again, Blues, mate, thank you so much for your most creative player. This Hotter lad looks really, really bright. But yeah, I think Hotter and Gilbert down the right side is very, very exciting. Steer looked a little bit shaky. I think he had a few... I think whether he didn't really take it too seriously or not, I'm not too sure. He had a few moments in the first and second half where he just dwelled on the ball a bit, especially in the second half. Steve Morrison, that grey-haired geezer on loan from Millwall, shut him down and he just panicked. He was very, very lucky to get away with it. Again, he got yellow carded for rushing out of his box and taking someone down. So, you know, I think Kalinic didn't play as well. I know he was there, but he didn't play. So is that sort of saying that he's off? I'm not too sure. So I think that tells me that I sort of want a goalkeeper even more now. I know we're looking at Heaton, but Burnley rejected our, I think it was £12 million bid or a £10 million bid or something like that. I'm not too sure. But I kind of want a goalkeeper now because Steele was not convincing against Shrewsbury. Konsa in defence looked comfortable. Wesley, when he came on in the second half, looked very, very good. It took about 3 Shrewsbury players to get the ball off him. I think the assist for Hogan's goal was fantastic. Took it down, great ball over the top. Hogan finished it. There was loads of people on Twitter saying it was an awful finish, but to be honest with you, I couldn't care less. The guy scored, and that would be fantastic for his confidence. Yeah, I thought we were good. Grealish ran the show. Of course he did. He's just a step above Grealish. In the first half, some of the dribbles he was doing, some of the running through midfield, the Shrewsbury's midfield he was doing was incredible. The guy's a step above. But yeah, I think you can't look too much into these things. I think it's just a fitness exercise at the end of the day. But overall, I think it's successful. 2 pre-season games down, 3 to go, I believe. But yeah, it's just a fitness thing. We haven't conceded a goal yet, which is beneficial to the team with the confidence and all that. But yeah, pre-season's good so far. We've got Walsall tomorrow on Wednesday, so I shall be there. That'll be my first game of the season, first vlog of the season, which is very exciting. Going down with all the boys, and then me and my sister will be at Charlton away at the weekend. And of course, you all know we're going to Leipzig. Keep an eye out for those videos. They should be very, very exciting. But without further ado, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Keep an eye out for all the videos coming up. There'll be a Premier League prediction video. Leave your thoughts on everything Aston Villa in the comment section. Let me know how happy you are to see my beautiful face back on your computer screens. Without further ado, leave a like on the video, subscribe to Villa on Tour, and I'll see you tomorrow against Walsall. Up the Villa.